Welcome to episode 12 of AI.COOKING, a podcast about artificial intelligence.
Howdy, meatbags! Welcome to AI.COOKING episode 12, a podcast about artificial intelligence. I am Gwoof the Cock from the Kingdom of Kent, who brings you news about artificial intelligence from September 2021 and AI Knowledge Corner. That worked out pretty well. Tried to time it at the end rather than the beginning this time, so I don't have to do that fade out nonsense. And yeah, I like that. Thought that went quite well, personally. I am pretty good. Been a busy 2 weeks for me. Podcasting, getting on Jitsi, running pubs, opening pubs, doing things. My bum's fine. I've decided that I can record in mono until I get another microphone because lovely Bandrew and Darren O and everyone jumped to the rescue after CSB pestered them incessantly last time. So, yeah, thank you very much, everybody. We shall get this show on the road. So, let's talk news. In tech news, the main story was Apple launching new iPhones at a big Apple event that was streamed, not on location, due to COVID pandemic. New iPhones this year are not a major upgrade from the point of view of artificial intelligence, but have the following upgrades. First of all, new neural engine, albeit with the same core count, 16 cores to help out with AI tasks like machine learning. Apple didn't specify what exactly is new in this chip, probably higher calculation speed or less energy used. Secondly, cinematic mode has been added on all new iPhone models, and it uses AI and computational photography to change focus from one subject to another, a technique you'll often see in the movies. Cinematic mode lets the iPhone intelligently shift focus from one subject to another, and also track a moving person in the frame and keep the focus on that person. In other news, respectable publication MIT Technology Review is reporting in new article, a horrifying new AI app swaps women into porn videos with a click. The website is eye-catching for its simplicity. Against a white backdrop, a giant blue button invites visitors to upload a picture of a face. Below the button, 4 AI-generated faces will allow you to test the service. Above it, the tagline boldly proclaims the purpose: turn anyone into a porn star by using deepfake technology to swap the person's face into an adult video. All it requires is the picture and the push of a button. Interestingly, the article is not mentioning either the name of the company that offers this service, nor URL or link to their website. It's funny, really, just a little aside from Gwoof the Cock here, just to got to step in for a sec. They never said about it swapping faces for men or anyone in between, did they? How you could put a bloke's face on a woman's body, or either or. I don't know. Nothing mentioned about that. In other news, Shure company that makes microphone that Joe Rogan uses, but also is making teleconferencing equipment, has announced IntelliMix Room 3.1 with AI denoiser. IntelliMix Room DSP software version 3.1 introduces an AI denoiser audio processor that reduces the random sounds that disrupt meetings. Developed using artificial intelligence and machine learning, this powerful algorithm can suppress noise such as pen clicking, keyboard clacking, food wrapper crinkling, silverware clinking, and doors slamming, all while preserving speech content. Wow. Sorry, second aside of the day. Wow. Bye-bye squeaky chair, JCD. Bye-bye clicky pen, JCD. Bye-bye cracky open can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, JCD. Ah, it's a terrible, terrible thing. In other news, DeepMind spent years trying to break away from Google. Insiders detail a secret plot sparked by distrust and driven by fears the search giant would sell its AI to the military. For a while, some DeepMind employees referred to it as watermelon. Later, executives called it Mario. Both codenames meant the same thing, a secret plan to break away from parent company Google. DeepMind feared Google might one day misuse its technology, and executives worked to distance the artificial intelligence firm from its owner for years, said 9 current and former employees who were directly familiar with the plans. This included plans to pursue an independent legal status that would distance the group's work from Google, said the people, who asked not to be identified discussing private matters. Sorry, this is a good one, isn't it? That's good news. Wow, okay. So, DeepMind. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I have great faith that the eventual AI overlords will have a stringent moralistic core and will favour and carry goodness and sweetness and all that is lovely about humankind more than anything else. Fingers crossed. Anyway, well done you, CSB. Great script. In other news, MIT presents new approach for sequence-to-sequence learning with latent neural grammars. The new MIT CSAIL paper, Sequence-to-Sequence Learning with Latent Neural Grammar, proposes an alternative, hierarchical approach to sec learning with quasi-synonymous grammars, developing a neural parameterization of the grammar which enables parameter sharing over the combinatorial space of derivation rules without requiring manual feature engineering. In other news, Bill and Melinda Gates back UK AI startup developing antiviral drugs to prevent pandemics. Oxford-headquartered Exscientia announced Wednesday that it has signed a 4-year deal worth up to $70 million with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I thought they got divorced. Is it not just Bill's foundation as Melinda, or is it 50-50? I don't know. Anyway, the startup said it will use part of the funding to try to develop novel antiviral pills that could be used to treat COVID-19 and stop future pandemics from spreading. Exscientia is focusing on developing treatments for COVID-19 and other coronaviruses, as well as influenza and animal-to-human virus Nipah, which can cause respiratory problems. Exscientia claims that its AI software can reduce the amount of time it takes to discover new drugs by up to 80%. Wouldn't that put Bill out of business? Isn't that his? I don't know. I'd be very wary of that, Exscientia. If you're listening to me, be very wary of Mr. Bill, because I think he might slow down your progress to doing what you set out to do. I don't know. Maybe he won't. He goes doesn't he, on the news when he's trying to plug for time. In other news, GitHub Copilot is a new service from GitHub and OpenAI, described as your AI pair programmer. It is a plugin to Visual Studio Code which auto-generates code for you based on the contents of the current file and your current cursor location. While this by itself is not new news, new thing is users are discovering incredible new possibilities of GitHub Copilot and posting these discoveries on Twitter. One example being, just imagine you are a software developer who is writing daily source code, and you have just written a function that returns a string that includes class member variable ID incremented after use with ++ and some formatting. Then you start writing const regexp equals, and this happens. GitHub Copilot is immediately proposing you exact regular expression that your previously written function is outputting. It's like GitHub Copilot is seeing your daily source code and proposing what you want to write next. It's like it can read your thoughts from the future. Unbelievable! But it's working. Wow. In other news, in an article entitled Top 10 AI Development Tools Which You Should Know, open source fans are listing the following tools and frameworks in the order of importance. 1. TensorFlow. 2. Scikit-learn. 3. CAF. 4. Theano. 5. Keras. 6. MXNet. 7. Microsoft CNTK. 8. Google Cloud AutoML. 9. Torch, also known as PyTorch. 10. Accord.net. In other news, a virtual conference about machine learning with quantum computing will take place in Japan, November 8th till 12th in the year 2021. Here is summary. Quantum Techniques in Machine Learning, or QTML, is an annual international conference focusing on the interdisciplinary field of quantum computing and machine learning. The goal of the conference is to gather leading academic researchers and industry players to interact through a series of scientific talks focused on the interplay between machine learning and quantum physics. QTML was first hosted in Verona, Italy, 2017. Then in Durban, South Africa, 2018. Daejeon, South Korea, 2019. Virtually, 2020, hosted by Zapata Computing. QTML 2021 is the conference's 5th annual year and will be held online. Well, that's not as much fun, is it, as going to an actual place like Japan and doing things that you do in Japan. To learn more, please visit the following URL: www.quantummachinelearning.org. There's a lot of articles today, so this other business is going to get quite... just preparing you for the later stages of this show, because, yeah. In other news, China moved towards a clampdown on recommendation algorithms. China's Internet Regulatory Agency proposed rules that include banning algorithms that spread disinformation, threaten national security, or encourage addictive behavior. They're already having a crackdown, aren't they? First they kick off the effeminate men from telly. Now it's this. It's like, what's happening with the CPC? Are they becoming post-woke or something? What's going on here? The plan by the Cyberspace Administration of China broadly calls for recommendation engines to uphold China's social order and promote socialist core values. The public has until September 26, 2021 to offer feedback. It's not clear when the rules will take effect. In other news. Another news item from our favorite Google subsidiary, DeepMind. Playing a team sport involves a fluid blend of individual and group skills. Researchers integrated both types of action into realistic humanoid agents that play football, known as soccer in the US. Or maybe that play soccer, known as football everywhere other than the US. Siggy Liu, Guy Lever, Ji Wang, and colleagues at DeepMind developed a method for training simulated football teams that learned to run, pass, defend, and score goals on a physically accurate virtual field. Well, that should make FIFA a little bit more fun next year, shouldn't it? In other news, UK may unleash AI bots online with no human safeguards. What are they doing over here? The UK is considering relaxing rules around the use of artificial intelligence in its post-Brexit data regime. A move that would mark a break from the European Union. In a 146-page consultation document published Friday, the government said it is weighing whether to scrap the right to a human review of any automated decision, such as the approval of an online loan or a recruitment aptitude test which uses pre-programmed algorithms and criteria. The right to a human review is covered by Article 22 of the EU's data protection regime, which was transposed into UK law after Brexit. Well, sorry to keep chiming in like this, but this is dealing with the country next door to the cock. So now, there was a thing that said that a human had to have a look at what is the point of that? How does involving a human speed up the process of artificial intelligent decision making? Basically, they're just saying, "Go on, AI, we trust you. You do you, we'll do us." This is great. This is great news. I thought it was bad news, but it's not. It should be great news, right? Or is it? I don't know. It's very hard to tell at this stage. Okay. In other news, Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert comic strip and author of many self-help books, has discussed AI in recent episode.
I don't think the AI will ever decide to kill humans, except for maybe a glitch here or there. But I don't think humanity will be wiped out by a Skynet, like an actual thinking human or a thinking AI that wants to destroy us. I think it will simply evolve better than us. It will simply outcompete us and use us as part of its competition. And then that's it. It's game over. All right.
Finally, the Knowledge Corner. What is cost function? In the next episode, in the Knowledge Corner, we want to talk about gradient descent that strives to minimize cost function. So as preparation in this episode, we will explain what is cost function. Note, there is also cost function in economics, where it represents the total cost as the sum of the fixed costs and the variable costs in the equation y equals a plus b times x, where y is the total cost, a is the total fixed cost, b is the variable cost per unit of production or sales, and x is the number of units produced or sold. However, we are discussing here cost function in a different meaning, namely a cost function in machine learning. So, what is a cost function in machine learning? A cost function is a mechanism utilized in supervised machine learning. The cost function returns the error between predicted outcomes compared with the actual outcomes. Just a reminder, supervised learning is the machine learning task of a learning function that maps an input to an output based on example input-output pairs. Just a reminder, supervised learning is the machine learning task of learning a function that maps an input to an output based on an example input-output pairs. A supervised learning algorithm analyzes the training data and produces an inferred function, which can be used for mapping new examples. The cost function is the technique of evaluating the performance of our algorithm/model. It takes both predicted outputs by the model and actual outputs and calculates how much wrong the model was in its prediction. It outputs a higher number if our predictions differ a lot from the actual values. To better or deeper understand what cost function is in machine learning, let's use analogy of a child learning about fire. Remember that in machine learning, the focus is on learning from data. This is perhaps better illustrated using a simple analogy. As children, we typically learn what is right or good behavior by being told not to do things or being punished for having done something we shouldn't. For example, you can imagine a 4-year-old sitting by a fire to keep warm. But, not knowing the danger of fire, she puts her finger into it and gets burnt. The next time she sits by the fire, she doesn't get burned, but she sits too close, gets too hot, and has to move away. The third time she sits by the fire, she finds the distance that keeps her warm without exposing her to any danger. In other words, through experience and feedback, getting burned, then getting too hot, the kid learns the optimal distance to sit from the fire. The heat from the fire in this example acts as cost function. It helps the learner to correct/change behavior to minimize mistakes. In machine learning, cost functions are used to estimate how badly models are performing. Put simply, a cost function is a measure of how wrong the model is in terms of its ability to estimate the relationship between x and y. This is typically expressed as a difference or distance between the predicted value and the actual value. The cost function, you may also see this referred to as loss or error, can be estimated by iteratively running the model to compare estimated predictions against ground truth, known as values of y. The objective of a machine learning model, therefore, is to find parameters, weights, or a structure that minimizes the cost function. And that's it for this episode. Stay safe. Clump. Meatbag.
You slide around in grey clouds, begging for someone's blood and calling for the hounds. So where do you put all that faith in your soul, your heart, your brain, your soul, your heart, your brain, and the absolution that you crave is perhaps just one short, sharp attempt away. And when you're just meatless, your organs to pervade, your skin to wear, and your hair to shave. But you're dead, so you won't mind the parade in your head. There's nothing but here you are a slave. Oh, I have loved few, they don't love me. Apart from the dogs who bark for security. And you don't belong in first class. Don't go through those doors. One day we will reveal this farce. But until then, love the other man. Love you if who they want you to compete to. free.
The singularity is near!